Welcome back to Skull Island, the most anticipated series according to my cat, with your host Fatsy and her questionable mental sanity. A collaborative series where I build your suggestions and ideas, with the goal of working together to achieve the coolest face ever. In previous episodes, we made a broadcasting station from where we edit and upload all our videos, which includes a really cool spinning antenna. We also made a small but really cool witch town, with an entire brewing setup underneath for all our potion needs. More recently, we built a fancy as well as massive tree trunk, which contains a universal tree farm on the inside. But for today's episode, and as voted for you all in the comments, we will be making a crab build. Now, I'm not too sure what a crab build is. In fact, no one seemed to know where this suggestion came from in the first place. So this is going to be an interesting episode.
2 weeks later.
Well, stuff kinda happened, and by stuff I mean a whole lot happened. You might have noticed already that I have no levels. I have no gear or anything on my character. There's also the massive empty spot behind me where the tree trunk should be. In fact, we are missing both the tree trunk and the entire witch's town. You see, this is the live server, but I sadly never had the time to import those two builds into the server. You might be wondering two things right now. Why am I not going to my single player to import the progress into the live server, and what even happened during the last 2 weeks? I tell you what we are going to do. We were supposed to build a crab build for the episode, so I'm going to explain everything while we build that. It's already Friday and I don't have a whole lot of time left, but I'm sure we can come up with something. My idea is to build something similar to the crab that they planned on adding to Minecraft. I think that design fits quite well within Minecraft, to be honest, and it should be easy to recreate. Now, what are you doing here? Don't forget to eat properly. Maybe it's a gift from someone. Oh, there are a whole lot of sweets in here. That's actually fantastic because I don't think we have a whole lot of food. What in the world? Why are there enchants in this chocolate bar? Magic chocolate, apparently. I'm so confused on how does that even work. Can you even get more food with just experience? That just sounds silly to me. Well, anyway, let's grab some of the food and get to building. There is a crab to be made. So while we are building this thing, what even happened during the last 2 weeks? Well, through the first week, I honestly just had too many doctor appointments and stuff to do in real life. That's pretty much it. I spent the entire week outside and didn't really have the time to do a whole lot more. By Friday is when I finally sat down and launched Minecraft to start working on the video. That's when my CPU decided to explode. Straight up. My computer crashed, and I wasn't able to launch it back up again. The motherboard wasn't detecting the CPU anymore. That was obviously a big issue, especially because I spent a ton of money during the week with doctors and medications. Probably my own fault for not delaying some of those appointments for a couple of weeks, but I was obviously not expecting to crash my CPU and have to spend 300 euros on a new one. So during the weekend, I had to figure out how to afford a new one, buy it, and wait for a few more days for it to arrive. At the end, it was less drama than it could have been, but that still delayed the video for quite some time. The fun doesn't end here though. Fast forward few days, the CPU arrived, and I was able to install it. Everything was working perfectly awesome. Except now Windows doesn't start, the main drive is corrupted. So I had to install Windows all over again, which didn't took more than a couple of hours. But there's a small caveat to that. The drive that got corrupted not only had my Windows, but also had all my Minecraft stuff and all my programs. Every single thing I used to record and edit videos. All of it. So I had to pretty much spend the entire week installing and setting things up. You never expect it to take that long because usually you install programs and do small tweaks in the span of several months. It's rarely the case that you need to do everything at once. Especially programs like DaVinci or the virtual audio channels for my voice synthesizer. Those things alone took me days to fully set up. And that brings us to Friday afternoon, after having set up OBS and some editing and recording macros I have on my keyboard. Finally ready to start making videos again. But with another small caveat. After so many doctor appointments, I was already beyond exhausted, at least mentally speaking. The CPU exploding was like ending the week with a massive bang, to the point that it made me lose all motivation for the season. I guess not quite the motivation, because I'm still looking forward to some projects that I have in mind. But it made me lose the interest for the current projects that we are working on. The island is the only cool part. The rest is just a massive pit of chaotic mess that we call industrial area. That, to be honest, I don't even want to get near it, and even the thought of finishing that gives me nightmares. So I have been chatting with my supporters, and some also voiced that they wouldn't mind a fresh start. I have been thinking about it while I was setting things up, and I'm quite convinced. I think it's time for a new season and a fresh start. Obviously, we are finishing this crab, since you all already voted for it. It's the least I could do. Next week I will be working on a big server tour, some sort of cool cinematic to show all, or most of the bases that have been built around. I imagine I might not be able to catch everyone, but I'm looking forward to work on that video. It's gonna be a lot of hours of cinematic recording and that kind of fun stuff. And I'm honestly quite excited for a new start. I'm kind of sad that the end of the season wasn't something more prepared and epic, but it feels like the curse of the series. Every season always ends with a very sudden bang of something going wrong, the world exploding, or in this case, my brain. And well, the CPU also exploding. I figured out how the food works, and it's pretty much how you would expect it to work with mending. But either way, look at this little crabby, isn't he adorable? I kind of followed the same reference picture I showed at the beginning. I thought it was quite nice looking. I believe mine ended up being a bit smaller, but I honestly don't mind it. I'm happy with this design. I think it could do with some copycats, especially since we're working with a rather small scale. Some parts should look a bit thinner to be well proportionate with the rest. With this last build done, it's time for me to quickly finish editing this video and already start preparing for that server-wide tour. I would love to hear in the comments if you enjoyed this last project of the series. By that I mean the island project itself. I would love to know if it was engaging and more entertaining, or what are your thoughts about the silly Skull Island? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next week for the grand finale.